Yes, a very beautiful morning out there, and welcome to another edition of Political Perspective on iPower 102.7 FM. My name is Florence Ibarima, and this is Political Perspective, a program where we preview and give detailed analysis of what the paper is saying. As always, we shall be looking at the different headlines in today's newspaper. And of course, with me in the house is our in-house analyst and person of Akin Adebayo. Good morning, Akin Adebayo.
Good morning this morning. Thanks for having me on the program today.
It's always a pleasure having you around. And
Thank
of
you
course,
very much.
we'll be looking at what the paper is saying, cutting across the Punch newspaper, the Sun newspaper, and Daily Post newspaper this beautiful morning. But before we dive in straight, I want us to take a look at the Sun newspaper talking about Jonathan's PhD. Obi's degree changed nothing for Nigeria, and that is coming from the APC. Do you think at this time this is the point where we need to deliberate or debate about what degree brought what in terms of change to Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very, very much. The fact remains that your level of education actually determines a lot in you making sure that probably you understand. Your policy, its front and its implementation. We are in a country whereby many people just come up with all manner of proposal, all manner of ideas. The very minute you are not able to comprehend what those people are actually introducing to you becomes a serious problem. So that is where the issue of education, in fact, a good education for that matter, comes in, because you must be able to read, understand, and to interpret. That is the most important thing. Now, when it comes to the issue of maybe Jonathan PhD,
In summary, do you think academic qualification determines whether or not a leader would deliver?
of course, academic qualification is important. Not just qualification this time around, but having a better knowledge and understanding of education itself really matters.
Okay.
For instance, like I do say, we have so many unemployable graduates now. You will see them piling certificates that they are graduate and whatever, but they cannot actually defend the certificate itself. And that reminded me of a particular incident back in Bayelsa during my service here. You know, I was in the front. There was a person behind me, and the person right after that person. You know, the person never knew that he made a 2-1, and he brought a 2-1 certificate to the camp. He never knew. It was the person right behind that was not telling that you made a 2-1. I would want to, if I start mentioning the ethnic group, maybe I'm fighting that person.
Isn't that funny?
Very, very funny. And the funny thing is, had it been that person actually maybe did any of these sciences course, I would have probably understand. He studied political sciences.
With a 2-1.
Yes, a course that deal with creative writing. He made the 2-1, and he never knew that he made a 2-1. It could be as bad as that. So the difference between you being educated and you knowing what you really studied, you understand?
Okay, from the angle this is coming from, what do you see to it coming from the APC?
Yeah, thank you very, very much. I think this program was aired yesterday,
Yes.
where an APC stalwart was brought on here and with a lawyer, Kaluka there about, and they're now deliberating on Tinubu SSCE certificate. And I begin to ask the question, what is the provision of the constitution? Constitution say that SSCE certificate or its equivalent. This man is having a BSc, a degree from Chicago State University, CSU. Sorry. Now, this is an issue that has always come at the front burner of Nigerian politics whenever we are in an election year.
Okay.
Particularly eve of election. You know, we'll be having an election come January next year, 2027. So I expect this thing to be coming up. But of course, the person in the saddle of the leadership of this country so far has actually proved his mentor. Like the person said now, concerning the issue of Peter Obi and maybe Jonathan. Jonathan really was a PhD holder, give it to him. A well-educated, very cerebral. But did that really reflect in his administration when he was the president of Nigeria? We all knew the corruption actually took place during his administration. Of course, Peter Obi equally is a degree holder as well. But of course, does this actually reflect? But this person you're talking about has even surpassed the threshold, which is the SSC. He's now having a degree that, you know that this case, this case has been pursued to CSU itself in the United States. and they've actually cleared it that the president of Nigeria actually passed through Chicago State University. So I begin to imagine why people are now particular about SSC and not put into consideration that this person is also a degree holder. You understand? The threshold is SSC, and you know the funny thing is this: that SSC does not even mean that you have 5 credit, which simply means
Just
if you have
if
you have F9 parallel, you can contest. That is why they really need to review that particular section, because it's amazing. Now they will not say that before you can become Nigerian president, you must have SSC. But for you to become a minister, you must present NY certificate, which means you must have been able to have not less than HND, BS, or the case may be. But now to now be the president, how do you now think a SSC holder will be able to supervise the degree that are under him? And that's what the problem is. And that equally reminded me of a particular person that was made the SSG of a particular state. Do you know? Look, to a large extent, I know that person very well. He does not even qualify to be the SSG, but was made the SSG. And 2 lawyers were placed under him as senior special assistants. Do you realize that at the end of the day, this man assented to all manners of files brought before him? And one of my bros now called his attention that, sir, that particular file just assented to, there are about 9 contracts in that file. He said, I did not know. And you can't blame him. He actually did not know, because he cannot even read and interpret the content of the file.
So what's the way forward?
The way forward is this. Look, as far as the person that is in the saddle of leadership in Nigeria at the moment is a degree holder. In fact, and you know what? He went to Chicago State University. He worked with ExxonMobil. He worked with so many prominent, multinational organizations all over the world. What I'm talking about. And to a large extent, of course, you see, the singular reason why it appears everybody's complaining is because its policies are breathtaking. Its policies, sorry. Its policies are taking a terrible toll on the populace of Nigeria. But of course, you cannot make a omelette without breaking the egg. Okay. As the case may be, it's just a matter of time. Now we are talking about macro and microeconomy. Look, without a macroeconomy, there can be survival for microeconomy. What is doing at the moment? Like I passed through the oasis today, and I was amazed. If you look at the road that is going on there, this is a standard gauge road. This is a road that can last another 50 years, for crying out loud. I don't think anybody has ever done such road. The only time I saw such thing was whenever a bridge is being constructed. But now you are seeing it now in form of the road. So to a large extent, we should be less concerned about the issue of maybe certificate regarding this person in question. Though we can question on that person maybe by the time you assume office and you are not performing as expected. That's when you can begin to ask, did this person actually pass through the 4 walls of secondary school? And let me tell you, there is no how. I repeat, you see, like I've always said, it is good to have a good moral standing. That to be intellectually sound and maybe morally bankrupt is a serious matter. The very minute someone is bankrupt, morally, it becomes a serious issue. And that is where you begin. Okay, do you realize that people that have been embezzling this country, making this country terrible, are the educated ones? Because if you are not educated, there is no way you can know how to change figures. There is no way you can know how to prepare terrible, memos to launder money out of the system. So we're not talking about education. Okay, take for instance, I wouldn't know, but how many professors do we have in China? Well, China is the one produce for the whole world now. Why are we so particular about this degree of a thing? So we should be less concerned about that. And that is why I will continue to appreciate the present ambition concerning the technical school innovation that you just brought about now. Look, we really need to invest heavily into our technical school. And to a large extent, I will equally want the president probably to upgrade it. How do I mean? That maybe technical school should not be 6 years. After 6 years, you can observe your NYSC. NYSC should not be limited to just degree HND. No. If you can go to technical school and do your 6 years, you are called a degree holder. Let me put it that way. But they must pass through the practical aspect of it. So enough of this certificate celebration. That is why you see people now going to all manners of miracle center just to acquire SSC, gain admission, and still bribe their way all through the higher institution years. By the time they now graduate, at the end of the day, they can't even defend the result they are holding. That is why I keep on saying it, that at the moment in Nigeria, we are having in fact, there's a disaster. Nigeria is sitting on a cake of gunpowder. by virtue of the so-called graduates we are parading that are even not unemployed, that are not unemployable. So when we're talking about unemployment, we should define it. Some people are you can't just employ them, because by the time you employ them, mess up the whole thing. It's part of the thing we are called experience in here. I've seen in on so many occasions whereby somebody that claimed to have come from maybe Cyprus or Haiti, case may be, cannot even speak simple and correct English. It could be as bad as that. Now, these are the people now they call the future leader of tomorrow. How can people actually lead? So to me, it's a two-way thing. As much as because that's why I keep on saying it's a two-way thing. Because for you to be able to lead the country, I think the threshold should even be okay. Look at the show of the late president Muhammadu Buhari. This was somebody that we call the Caesar of anti-corruption. But when he got there, he messed things up. Simply because he couldn't comprehend the democratic system of government. He couldn't even interpret memos. And that was why, as we speak now, do you know the amount that was actually laundered under him? Emefiele now is cooling off with over 700 plus duplex. That is the only one we can see so far. Look at Malami as well. I mean, look at the corruption actually went under him. Well, I'm not saying that the president is calling free. No. We can't say anything about him now until he leaves or he vacates the office. But to a large extent, education, and not just education, having a sound education and being vibrant about it, just like this man, the Emir of Kano, in person of Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, he has projected, he has foresaw that if we don't review, our economic policy, Nigeria will plunge in a serious crisis. He said that during Jonathan era, that until this subsidy is removed, he actually started advocating for the removal of subsidy when he was CBN governor. And look at it today. If not for the person of maybe Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, present governor of Anambra State now, Nigerian banks now would have, many of them would have gone to bankrupt, to the extent that people that have actually saved their money would just have gone down the drain. This happened to be the previous experience before the merger and capitalization of those banks. So what I'm talking about is, if you claim to be educated, you must be able to prove that in your administration. So to me, anybody that is claiming to have a PhD and maybe a degree and what have you, and is not reflecting in the various space we occupy, to me, such degree amount to nullity. Those are part of the people talking about that they go out there, acquire that degree. Of course, as we all know, we have some big students in school this time around, in universities. Probably they're already working, and first they're probably saying they know how to get their way through. That's why I'm equally praying that I just wish that there can be a debate concerning this next presidential election. Let these two people come out and defend themselves. I'm talking about Peter Obi, Tinubu, and Atiku himself. And I think they should come out and actually engage Nigeria. Let Nigeria engage them. Let them begin to tell us. To God be the glory. We've listened to some of their interviews. We've listened to where Tinubu was interviewed. We've listened to where Peter Obi was interviewed. We've listened to where Atiku was interviewed. So we don't need to start dilly-dallying over these three prominent candidates, because we shouldn't deceive ourselves. It will, one of them will emerge out of those three. It can't go beyond those three. And to a large extent, we've listened to the three of them being interviewed in one fora or the other. So I think Nigeria themselves should be able to judge. But that is not enough. Why I'm saying that's not enough is that the Nigerian debate group should now come around again and conduct a debate for three of them. If they know that they are confident, they are qualified to rule this country, let them come out there and express to Nigerians what they can do better for the Nigerian populace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would not want us to overflog that particular issue, because if it is by debating, I think we've had enough of debating and campaigns before election. At the end of the day, nothing happens. But away from that, and a quick look at what is happening in Osun State. We know the election is coming up next on the 15th, and looking at the different headlines we've been seeing from last month, talking about the fight, the death, the different attacks here and there. And now Governor Adeleke of Osun State actually warning President Tinubu that his people would come out and he would not allow rigging. Yeah, this is coming from the Daily Post, and I also have this one coming from the Sun, talking about Adeleke expresses distrust in police, urging voters to protect ballots. Now, from the look of things, it's as though this state is already under chaos, because now he's saying that it's as though the APC government has bought over the police, and now they are actually working, because even when those that are actually those that commit offenses are being seen, it's almost as though the police cannot even apprehend them and actually prosecute them for what they have done. So what is going to happen come the election day if all of this is happening now, and we've had people who have died, even to a 14-year-old who died in the course of all of this?
Thank you very, very much. Number one, Adeleke is the chief security officer of the state in paper. let's get it very, very, very clear. Because it cannot.
Which insinuates that it doesn't have.
It doesn't have much say when it comes to policing on the state.
Wow.
Of course. That is why at times I begin to query the issue of security votes being allotted to these governors. What are they doing with it? And that is why the advocacy now for state policing is very important.
Okay, if we had the state policing bill already passed at this point, what would it change for the Osun State?
That is why, as I speak with you now, the police bill is being fast-tracked now to 7 weeks. And I can assure you, there is no way the governor can, to a large extent, it will be just, because it is subject to some conditions. You understand? But be that as it may, these governors or these politicians, they know, that is why whenever a politician says anything, don't swallow what is being disseminated by a politician who claim and sinker. You miss the road. This Madeleke, when the IG in person of Dizu came to his place, he equally alleged the governor. That governor, but I learned that some talks, you about some talks. Look, all parties about talks. All parties are always engaged in electoral malpractices.
So what do we make? What do we make out of those that are actually victim of the circumstances who have lost their life in the line?
Well, I say that I mean that's the best of luck, because I see no reason why you should allow politicians to use you as a tool. Where are their own children? Are you not telling me that you that was sent to go and start facing fellow thugs cannot become somebody great in life tomorrow? You understand? So they're just victim of their own undoing, so to speak. Because you shouldn't have allowed yourself to be used as a tool of destruction in the first place. Those people that were used for this thuggery, they are human beings. Is the governor better off than them? Is the president better off than them? Who says that they cannot equally become a governor and a president tomorrow? Where are the children of these governors? Where are the children of those commissioners? Where are the children of those politicians? They are maybe in some overseas schools, studying one course or the other. Now their parents were enslaved. Now the children are equally be enslaved now through politicking and politricking. So to me, the idea of the governor saying that maybe people should come out protect ballot and what have you, I think the people that should lead that charge should be his own children and his cousins as well. Is that the simple truth? In as much as I condemn the issue of political attack, political thuggery, brigandage and what have you in Osun State, there's the principle of law that says that he who comes to equity must come with a clean hands. Can this governor come to the table of equity with clean hands? That he doesn't know about that is only going on in Osun State? So look, all politicians breed thugs.
If you want to give a simple or a diplomatic advice now for electorate in that state, what would that be?
I would just advise them to cast their vote and maintain their cool.
How do they protect the ballot?
Look, they cannot protect the ballot. Security officers are there to protect the ballot.
Now, he is saying that it's as though they are not working for the good of the people of the state.
Of course, what do you expect him to say? Look, that's why I said that you don't swallow whatever a politician says, hook, line, and sinker. Like I said, right in his very presence, the IG alleged him that is equally abhorring some talks that are being searched for by Nigerian police.
Okay, we have a call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma. Good morning, sir.
Mr. Agbenro, good morning, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Akin. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, this morning, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
What's your contribution, sir?
Ma.
Your contribution, please.
Thank you. Briefly, I want to contribute about this Osun election.
Okay.
That is coming on 15th of this month of August. And I want to start by saying, in our Yoruba, here is our progenitor, our initiator of Yoruba lands. After that, then we mention Baba Awolowo, Baba Ajasin, Adebisi Onabanjo, Olabisi Onabanjo to say, Bola Ige of Owodoyo State, and Lateef Jakonde. Those are the co-mates and worker, progressive people that work with Obafemi Awolowo that gave us free education in Southwest. And today, we are still leading life in Nigeria. And I want to say, as a Yoruba man, that in everything, we try to remind that history will judge us at the end of the day. Late Dele Giwa said, if there's no judgment here, there's judgment beyond, to every humanity to man. And Tinubu to also remember that what I will be remembered for. That's why Yoruba make a program that this first generation of Nigeria that well educated, I'm talking about Awolowo said and Ajasin, they gave everything, education, sacrificed their life for the incoming generation to live in peace, to be happy, employment. And today, these are the people that enjoy the free education, free everything. They are in the government today. The issue I want to talk about Osun people. Adeleke as a Yoruba man, he endorsed this present president. Even though you perform low, you are a Yoruba man. I'm with you. Over 30 people have been killed in Osun. Today, no justice. The IG that said that Adeleke kept some thugs in the government house. And Adeleke told him, enter the government house. You are a policeman. Bring your search warrant and bring out the thugs. Today, this man has not brought a single thug from that government house. Is it that we want to continue in Yoruba? This is a Yoruba sons and daughter, a Yoruba sons and daughter that have been killed in Osun. It's because in the game of election, today to bring out every rule. After 2 years on local government autonomy, somebody seated at the power refused to disobey the court order. Nothing is happening. Is it I want to continue? And somebody has raised you up. That's why I start from Awolowo. What will Tinubu be remembered for? This kind of injustice. God will deliver Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agbero, for that deep insight. Whew.
Should I react to that?
Please go ahead.
Well, Mr. Agbero has spoken very well, and he has been a regular caller on this program. Of course, he has said, he has given his own opinion. He is very welcome. You see, like I've always said, we should not subject ourselves to the whims and caprices of this politician. Those people that are being killed, like you rightly said, they are Yorubas. And these people are not better off than they do. So they should not subject themselves to be used as political talks during electioneering period. That is what I'm advocating here. That is why the idea of maybe this talk of a thing, I don't see it fizzling out at amendment from now. Because the very minute some people believe that is what that is. Have you ever, if you have the experience of these political talks, you know that they are not normal human beings. So that is why the government even need to mop up all these talks. But they are the one equally empowering them. They are the one, weaponizing them against maybe their opponent. Their opponent. You understand? So to a large extent, I think the government itself, not just state, but all government from local to state and national, needs to do something about the issue of thuggery when it comes to the issue of of election in Nigeria. For how long shall we continue with this trend? So as a matter of fact, the government needs to do something urgent about it in nipping at the bud this idea of thuggery whenever we are in the electioneering period. Look at the people that have died now. So now some family are mourning, and I can equally assure you, some family may not even mourn because the children may even be considerable nuisance. Look, if you ever have an encounter with these thugs, honestly, you won't sympathize with them. Is what I have had series of encounter with them, the way they behave, the way they react. I don't sympathize with them. So they are the ones that actually need to call their senses back in the right order so they can think appropriately and not just begin to, respond to these politician orders here and there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that insight. Let's take a quick look at what has been happening as regards the bishop and the APC presidency. Now, talking 2027, we have restore confidence in electoral process to avert vote apathy, and that's coming from the Cardinal Onayekon urging federal government. What do you have to say about this?
Well, Cardinal John Onayekon is a respectable religious man in Nigeria. We respect his views. We respect his contribution to national politics. But of course, what he has said, is the obvious thing, But when it comes to
do you realize he's being dragged?
Of course. Tell me who is not being dragged in this country? Has they not dragged Badeboye? Has they not dragged Oyedepo? Have they not dragged even the president? So everybody can be dragged. Was the Pope not dragged? At least if I'm not mistaken, J.D. Van dragged the Pope some months back. What I'm talking about, so anybody can be dragged. So that is why at times it's good you just keep quiet when it comes to the issue of politics. You understand? But Onayekon, I want to appreciate him for his comment. You understand? He's a Nigerian, a nationalist. He's having the right to actually hear his opinion regarding issue. Of course, the president needs to do a lot regarding the Electoral Act. So that he can restore, so that he can the electoral process so that to avert voters' apathy. But let me tell you one thing: there's always been voter apathy. At every electionary year, there's always been voter apathy. And what considers voter apathy? Do you realize that we are even yet to actually, right there on that voters register, many people have died. Many people are no longer in Nigeria, and all these people are still there. Their names are still there. So that's something actually needs, review. It needs editing. People that are no longer in Nigeria, people that are dead, their names should be expunged. These are part of the thing we take, for instance, now. There's that in Ondo State, for instance, people that actually, the voters list, they're about 3 million. At the end of the day, 600,000 people will vote. The question is this: where are the other numbers? But among those 3 million, some have died. Some are no longer in the country. Even some are no longer in the state here. You understand? These are the things that actually could come together to make up this apathy of a thing. So, because to me, like I've always said, the only time I do experience apathy, look, when it comes to presidential and governorship election, people comes out en masse. Let me tell you that people comes out en masse. The only time I do experience apathy is during local government election, because an average Nigerian believes that the local government is strictly the affairs of the state governor. The governor determines who becomes the local government chairman, and that is when the apathy actually surfaces. But when it comes to national election of this nature, you'll be amazed at the level of voters turnout to come and cast their vote. And of course, many people that are even registering now, maybe people that are just 18, people that have not probably registered before, that are just registering now, they are obtaining that PVC for the purpose of making money. Look at what happened in Ekiti, the just concluded election. A lady came on there and said she was giving 15,000 naira to vote for a particular political party. And that is the more reason people are going to collect their PVC now. They are not going it based on patriotism, no. They are going it just to make sure that, okay, when the booty or the loot is being shared, or maybe the national cake, as the case may be, is being shared during the electionary period or during the election day, they can call it benefit. That is why the issue of look, this issue of voters party should even be the case by now. I think Cardinal Onayekon should be talking about the idea of vote buying. There should be more sensitization about people selling their vote. That is their right. Look at what happened in Lagos in the 2023 general election. It was because people came out and voted en masse. That was why even the president couldn't win his own state. You understand? So, to a large extent, if people are oriented and reorientated about the issue of selling their vote for a particular candidate, the ripple effect, like as it is now, some people say now that this government, we are suffering, this, that, and stuff like that. Don't be surprised. Those people that are saying that they are suffering, that are making, all manner of complaint, we still be the set of people that will still go again and vote during the next coming election, all because of maybe the stipend given to them, either for or against. But in Nigeria, as we all know, the highest bidder takes the vote. That's your simple truth. So I pray that God help us. But now, Onayekon has spoken his mind, has said his opinion, his views are always respected, and I think Tinubu on his own part as well should try everything possible to making sure that the electoral process is more transparent and more accounted for. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that insight. If you want to call us in and share your contributions and comments, it's 08165524699. You can also join us on our social media platform on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X at iPower1027FM. Yes, you can still send us a message on the studio line 08165524699 on WhatsApp. We would read out your reactions and comment right from the studios. Yes, I'm moving on to the point where we have Group 1 federal government against the move to privatize Unity schools. So there's this alumni body in Ilorin, 1996 set who came on board to say that there's been speculations that there are chances that federal government unity schools are about to be privatized. So what do you say to that? Because according to them, once this happened, it means that the children from the low-income families might not be able to, afford basic education as this again if it becomes private.
Thank you very, very much. Should I shock you?
Please do.
Anybody from the age of 50 and above,
okay,
are beneficiary of free education in this country.
Okay.
Now, look at those governors. Look at those ministers. Look at the president. These are beneficiary of free education. If I don't know about the northern Nigeria, eastern Nigeria, but at least I know of southwestern Nigeria, as postulated the other time by our caller.
Yeah,
Mr.
Guerrero.
Now, if these people that benefited tremendously from free education are now the one trying to, in fact, it's even dirty that they now want to hand over the school to the alumni of the. How many alumni do you think will be interested? Even as I speak with you, do you realize that majority of the development these schools are experiencing now is at the courtesy of the alumni? And I think that is what the government is trying to predate on now. Because what they are, if you take, an investigative view of some of those schools, you'll be amazed at what the alumni are doing there. Building classrooms, tying the roads, buying textbooks. Just name it. I think the government now saying that now think maybe they should not hand over the school to the alumni. Then what is the government trying to subsidize for us in this country? Do you understand? In the United States and the UK, for instance, you are entitled to free education from maybe nursery, at the case maybe creche, to secondary school level. You start paying humongous amount at the institution level. But in Nigeria, right from the KG to nursery, to primary, to secondary, it could be as bad as that. And this is not easy money. So what can we really benefit from this government? Now it becomes a serious case. Now they are now trying to transfer the responsibility to the alumni. What if the alumni say they are not interested? Is it because of what the alumni is doing now in the school? Does that not give them the right? Not that they want to transfer the school from government responsibility to the alumni. So to me, it's not a welcome idea at all. And I think the government actually needs to look inward in making sure that these schools are put in better condition, that students can go to school at the appropriate time. Now, I talked about alumni. Okay, what about the schools that are in the that are in the rural areas? How many alumni do they have? How many alumni do you think will go to those areas and take care of those schools? Is it because of what they are seeing at the city centers? Can everybody come out of city centers to come and study? No. So I think the government should be more responsive in discharging their duties and not pushing that responsibility. Do you know how much has been paid in an institution? To a large extent, I can see that maybe our education is still free. It's still cheap to a large extent. But even at that, put into consideration the money parents have been paying from KG to nursery to primary or to secondary school. It is breathtaking. Even now that the alumni is needed to take over, many students are not going to school, or because their parents could not even afford the school fees. The very minute alumni takes over now two things will happen. They will no longer implement their own policy, that is developing their skills. That is one. Secondly, they will now say as kind of business, where they want to make money from the system that they actually put in place. So it could be as bad as that. And that was why I keep on asking this question. When the missionaries came, they brought evangelism, they came with education. But now, what do we have now? What do we have now? Even the missionary schools now is a no-go area. You'll be shocked at times where you begin to hear the school fees of some of these missionary schools. I don't want to start mentioning churches here. It's breathtaking. Majority of the members' children can never go to those schools. These are serious issues. So to me, the government, for them to even conceive such idea, it is dead on arrival. And I think the alumni on their own part should maybe for now pause on what they are doing for the school. Maybe that's what the government is saying, and that's why they think maybe they're capable of handling the schools. And they've forgotten that before you could drag this alumni into contributing to the school, it takes a lot of serious hard work. As I speak to you now, I know how they've been dragging me from my old school about what we want to do come next year. The question is, do I have the money that they're requesting for now? Can everyone be buoyant enough to fund their various alma maters? These are serious questions. So the government should stop pushing their responsibility to other person. What are they doing with those? What are they doing with all those allocations? What are they doing with the resources they're generating? So if they're trying to make everything, maybe you now share yourself of all responsibility. Then what do you want to start doing? It is in Nigeria you provide water for yourself. In Nigeria, you generate electricity for yourself. In Nigeria, you construct roads for yourself, at least at various streets. I can tell you for free that there's practically nothing Nigerians are benefiting from the government. And at the end of the day, do you realize that where I stay in Akure, the road was in fact, a terrible state. The very minute the part of the road was completed, tax people came on to start collecting tax again. They were chased away. That look, ever since this road has been in this terrible condition, what have you done about it? All because the road is good now, you not even give us maybe 6 months or a moratorium to get us the money. You are not coming out to collect tax. And that's where the question of what are they doing with our tax comes in. Paying tax is not a big deal to people, but very many people are not seeing what the tax is being used for. It gives them for serious concern. In the US, in the UK, when you pay tax, they see they can feel the effect of the tax they are paying directly. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. Now they are trying to put the responsibility of sponsoring schools now to the alumni. Who said the alumni are capable of handling those things? Can alumni pay salary? Do they know what it means to manage a school? By the time all those years that as I speak with you, despite the fact that So many schools in the rural area. I will continue to emphasize the rural area because nobody wants to go and teach in the rural area. They are not having teachers. What is government doing about that? The alumni are the one that at times we employ PTA teachers. To me, the alumni actually tried their best. And these are voluntary associations. They are not compared to them for the school. So the government must equally understand that fact. Why is it that you cannot just adopt what is good from overseas? It is what that will inconvenience us. That are the alumni the ones sponsoring primary, secondary schools in overseas? Why is it that we just want to inconvenience ourselves by all means, by all standards in this country? I think the alumni really actually need to stand against this idea of privatizing unit secondary school, because unit secondary school happens to be the only school that federal government is handling, and probably federal government schools and what have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that contribution. And of course, if you want to reach us out to contribute to your take or give us your take on what has been discussed so far, we have the studio line 08165524699. 08165524699. So glad to have you back. The program is still Political Perspective on iPower 102.7 FM. And of course, we are doing justice. Akin is doing justice to the headlines making rounds today in the newspaper, beginning from the headline where we have the take on what the federal government is doing as regards The Adeleke expressing distrust in police and urging voters to kindly protect their ballot. We move on to the next matter arising on the Sun newspaper, where we had Jonathan, PhD, obese degree, change nothing for Nigeria, and that was coming from the APC. We have also deliberated on Bishop Onayekon, who talks about restoring confidence in electoral processes to avert apathy. And lastly, before we went on that short break, we talked about how Group 1 federal government to move towards privatizing Unity schools. So if you want to reach us with your comment regarding all of these headlines are being analyzed in detail, you can reach us on 08165524699. Before we call it a day on the program, we have this headline talking about a coalition saying same-faith ticket a threat to Christians, and they are actually urging the US to intervene. Now, at the point I read where it was stated that they should the name a country of particular order should be reinstated back, because we have not yet left that sector or that phase. What do you think about this?
Thank you very, very much. You see, whenever we are approaching electionary period,
Okay.
that is when you begin to see all manners of groups coming up, all manner of association, coming up, just want to be relevant. And let me tell you this, the singular reason why they do such thing is this: electionary period is a period where people make some cool money, so to speak. Because by the time you begin to put up all manner of proposal, I want to do that, like I told somebody today, I've been added to all manners of groups, and I said, please don't add me to any group again. I said, before they even ask someone to maybe any of this culture fraternity, you won't even know. So that is the essence of this period. Now, about the issue of coalition says same faith ticket rising to Christian or gives you intervention. We must understand one thing: Nigeria is a sovereign state. Is it because of the personality of Trump, the so-called peace ambassador that is looking for? Just want to have a Guinness World Record by all means, or Nobel rate, or Nobel Prize by all means, and that is one of the reasons. Trump is a very ambitious person. Give it to him. He's very, very ambitious. But as we all know, same faith ticket. How does that pose a threat? Didn't Abiola use same faith ticket then during himself and King Gibe before the election was annulled? So let us if you stop whipping up this religious sentiment, and this is one of the things that have been polarizing this country. Look, this country is being polarized along two lines. That is ethnic and religion. And by the time you begin to whip up this all manner of these religious emotions, it becomes a serious problem. Build up to 2023 election, Floxy, there were all manners of revelations, prophecies. Name it. It was so embarrassing. As I speak, there's a particular prophet in Nigeria now that the only thing he sees in life is vision to politician. It could be and at times I begin to imagine people that are going to source churches. I'm sorry to say this. So we should stop all this religious sentiment. Propagations. It won't take us to anywhere. Okay. Now, under the same faith ticket, that the person is a threat and blah blah blah, what have you. As then, to a large extent, if I'm not mistaken, that is there is relative peace in the country now. We are talking about sabotage in the system itself. Christians have been caught in acts of terrorism. Muslims have been caught in the act of terrorism. Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, they've all been caught in the act of terrorism. So we should not deceive ourselves. This is a crime. It's a criminal act that it doesn't have ethnic or religious correlation. But of course, some ethnic group, some religious settings are more pronounced when it comes to this issue of, insurrection, attack here and there, and what have you. We understand that. But be that as it may, this is not the time for us to start whipping up religious sentiment again. So far, so good. The issue of maybe Boko Haram of a thing, or maybe Lukarawa, the case may be, and what have you. Even what about the Hyperbab and Agu? She understand? Are they not security threats? Are they not Christian? When Southeast was shut down, the issue of Monday, no business, something on Monday. The person giving those orders, are they not Christians? Many people have been killed in Southeast as well. Are they not Christians? These are the issues. But of course, that is why I don't want to key into this idea of saying that same faith ticket. No, it's immaterial. All what we need is performance. Okay, look at the president, for instance. Do you realize that the president is a minority in his own house? He is a Muslim. He is a social Christian. If I must be sincere with you. and social Muslim rather. He doesn't even practice Islam the way you practice it. I mean, the president himself. So these are just the things. And in fact, even his wife is a pastor. His wife is a pastor. He once said that his Quran will sit on the bed shelf, while his wife Bible is equal to there. They don't fight. Have we not seen that if you have Christian ticket, that is when Nigeria is peaceful? Has Christian not ruled this country before? So we should forget we are talking about politics here. We are talking about vote that where you can actually harness more votes. So we should not bring in religion or what have you into this something. So to me, I don't key into the idea of what this person is saying. Like I've said, we are in an election year. So you'll be seeing all manners of groups, saying all manners. Just to make sure that, okay, they're able to tap one or two things from this politician. Because let me be sincere with you. This is the time you can get something substantial from this politician. So you forming a group, will go a long way in making it more relevant politically. Some people make money from this and from this election year, while some will get positions. Because by the time a particular party or a particular candidate emerges as the president, as the governor, the case may be, I can assure you, most of these people that are the front burner of these various group, coalition, associations, they will be considered for one position or the other.
Okay.
And they will call it make money from it.
Right.
So we should not be deceived with whatever these people are saying. Politicians are not the set of people that will tell you something and you think you can take it to the bank. You are just deceiving yourself. That is it. They want to people sentiment, ethnic wise and religious wise. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. In 1 minute, please give us your pattern shots as regards everything discussed today.
But my own party has always been that we do the right thing.
Okay.
Look, if we all can do the right thing, I'm not saying 100%. Let us give it 50%, 60%. I can assure you, Nigeria will be a better place to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, of course, the program is still Political Perspective on iPower 102.7 FM. Many thanks to Akin Adebayo, our in-house analyst who has done justice to most of the headlines making rounds in today's newspaper. As we wrap up today's edition of Political Perspective, today's discussion has once again highlighted the importance of credible institution, accountable leadership, quality education, religious inclusion, and a transparent electoral process in the strengthening of our democracy. While opinions may differ on different issues, one thing remains similar. An informed and engaged citizens is essential to the progress of our nation. As always, we encourage you to stay informed, verify the information you consume, and of course, participate peacefully and responsibly in the democratic process. Many thanks to everyone. Many thanks to you, our dear listeners. Many thanks to our general manager, engineer Paul Lolo, to those with me in the studios, the studio manager and person of MTK, and his subunit, Jumi and Tommy. Of course, to our ICT manager, AY, and his left